Hey there everyone, it's Todd from Gilla Games. I wanted to talk about this project that I've been working on for my friend Joe. I mentioned it before in another video, maybe a couple of times in the past. This is the James Bond car, the DB5, which is it's like a replica or restoration of the Aston Martin DB5 from the movie Goldfinger. And Joe found an old DB5 and it's been restoring it. It's in a shop, taken apart from the ground up, and I've been working with the electrical engineers and other people on the team that are designing the gadgets like machine guns and smoke machines and oil slick and all kinds of stuff that's like in the car in the movie. He wants to actually make them to put them in his restoration car, or whatever you want to call it. And so I've been working on the software side of controlling all of these gadgets, like the brain. And so it started out as just like, okay, we need something that can control these gadgets. You know, you got the buttons and switches inside the car. They have to somehow interface with the actual gadgets to make them work. So I did a little bit of research and I decided, hey, Raspberry Pi sounds like the perfect solution for this, because it's designed to take inputs from physical buttons and switches and stuff and send outputs back out to other hardware gadgets. So started going down that path and writing code in Python, which is kind of the most common language used for the Raspberry Pi. So you know, that was coming along well. I don't have any of the actual gadgets, so I've been working with you know, breadboarding up LEDs and little switches and buttons and stuff like that to kind of just proof of concept the inputs and outputs from the Raspberry Pi. And that's coming along great. And then at one point Joe said, hey, it would be great if I could control the gadgets from outside the car using my iPhone. Can we make an iPhone app to control the gadgets? And so I thought, okay, well, let me look into that. Now, I'm a experienced Unity developer, so the first thing I turn to make a phone app is Unity. And I found a plugin in the App Store, or the Asset Store, the Unity Asset Store, for interfacing with Bluetooth, and I got that all working and had it working perfectly so that the phone could send messages to the Raspberry Pi and vice versa. They could talk to each other, and got buttons on the phone to do the things that the physical switches and buttons in the car would do. So coming along great. Oh, plus Joe wanted to be able to play like flavor videos on the screen inside the car, because the screen is generally in the movie is just like a radar screen, almost like a GPS, but kind of ahead of its time, I guess. Not exactly interactive, but you can just kind of like follow a tracker that's on another car. So that video was playing, and then he wanted to, whenever you activate a gadget or something, another video would kind of pop up and show a little animation of the gadget activating, in addition to it actually activating in the car. And then also some flavor videos like you know, the Bond girls from the old Bond movies, and some villains, and you know, what he drinks and who he hangs out with, and that kind of stuff. So the phone, since the car's, you know, screen was not interactive at all, the phone was the only way to play the videos. So the phone app became the video player also. It would, when it started up, it would grab a list of videos from the Raspberry Pi and then show you a list, and you could pick one on the phone and it would show it, and when it was done it would go back to the radar loop, because the radar loop's like 10 minutes long or something, but then when it's done it just starts over again. So cool, everything's working good. Watching videos and all that stuff. And then Joe throws another curveball at me, actually two curveballs at once. He says, I want to be able to use a touch screen in the car and be able to choose videos to watch from the touchscreen in the car, like choose the flavor videos. So instead of just using the phone to choose the videos, now I want to do it from inside the car. And also, it would be awesome if I could control the gadgets using an Apple Watch. I'm like, wow, okay. So two things at once. So now we're talking about having a touchscreen with an interactive screen, which before it was all just pre-rendered videos that were being triggered by different external things, like whether it's the buttons and switches in the car or the iPhone app. So now we have interactive user interface in the car on the screen, and watch control for doing all the things that pretty much all the things that the phone was doing already. Okay, so started going down that path. I got an interactive UI going using tkinter, which is a library that comes with Raspberry Pi, and it's Python scriptable and everything, and it actually turned out to be easier than I expected to get that working so great. Now this is just, I'm using my mouse to click everything on there. I don't actually have a touch screen yet, the physical hardware, but assuming that that's just a plug and play type of thing and it emulates mouse clicks and stuff, it should be no problem. That's the next step. But so now I have to get the iPhone app, which I wrote in Unity, to work with the Apple Watch companion app. Okay, so I start doing research on that because I've never had an Apple Watch, never did any Apple Watch development, so this was all new to me. Even though I lots of experience in Unity and doing iPhone app development stuff through Unity. Plus, I developed two complete games on the iOS using Objective-C, which is like the native language that they originally used, like going back all the way to 2009. So I was familiar with the iOS native development as well, even before I got into Unity. But so I started running into problems right away. It wasn't that easy to just add a companion app to a Unity-built iPhone app. So I tried manually adding the companion app, and that was, it takes a lot of manual configuration of like info, plist, settings, and things like that to try to get the companion app to work with the main app. And the biggest problem here is when you build an iOS project in Unity, it literally creates the entire Xcode project every time you do a build, or it just kind of updates the one you made before. But sometimes you need to do a fresh build. And if you do that, anything that you added to the project is now just gone because it replaces it. So that's a problem with adding a watch companion to the project that Xcode generated, because it'll just wipe it out. So I had to try to figure out how to make a separate project just for the watch, and then after the Unity makes the Xcode project from that build, kind of merge them together and get them to work. And that was starting to be really troublesome. But I thought, okay, well, I'll worry about merging the projects later. Let me just get the Unity app talking to Swift, because Swift is now, instead of Objective-C, you can still use Objective-C, but Swift is now the new kind of de facto language for native iOS development. And Swift UI is the latest UI, I guess, language or code or whatever you want to call it, to build the UIs instead of storyboards. It's a little different. So everything's pure Swift. If you look up a lot of tutorials now, it's all about Swift. But the problem is, Unity has to talk to the native iOS code. And that's not a problem. It can do that through Objective-C only. So I wanted to use Swift and Swift UI for building the app, or I had to for the watch app. So I had to make a bridge between Objective-C and Swift. So I did some research on that, and it turns out it used to be really easy, as easy as including like a header file from Unity, but in like Unity 2019 or 2020 or something like that, they decided to put all of the Unity engine code for iOS in a separate framework when it builds the project. All the Unity code is in a framework now, and so you can't just include a header and have it work. So I found somebody who kind of figured out a hack where you can add a bunch of manual headers, like 4 different headers that include the stuff for Unity, and basically got the Objective-C to Swift bridge working. And the thing about that is Xcode, when you do the Objective-C to Swift bridge, you have to tell the Swift side which functions you want to access using Objective-C. You have to put a special tag on them. And by doing that, when Xcode builds the project, what it does behind the scenes is it actually creates Objective-C classes and functions to match those Swift ones, and kind of just automatically does stuff. So that's kind of cool, right? Well, ran into a problem where as soon as I started, okay, so I got that far. So now I needed to have the Swift code. So now I got Unity talking to Objective-C, Objective-C talking to Swift. Now I got to get the Swift code talking to the watch. So I put in the watch connectivity class and start writing some stuff in Swift to do that based on some things that I found online. Looks pretty simple. Well, when Xcode builds the project, somehow it detects that the Swift code for the watch connectivity is going to be accessed by Objective-C code, so it automatically builds Objective-C versions of the class. But when it did that, it tries to use an interface that is required, or a delegate that's required for the watch connectivity, and in the Objective-C code that it generates, it can't find it. It doesn't know what this means. Even though it generated it, it doesn't work. And there might be ways to fix it, but I couldn't find anything. So now I have another broken spot. So Unity to Objective-C, Objective-C to Swift, but Swift talking to the watch, not working. So I decided to just start from scratch. Instead of using Unity for the project on the app, on the iPhone app, I just decided I'm going to create a whole new Xcode project that is an app, and a phone app and a watch app together, because you can start a new project with them together, so they're automatically kind of configured to work together, and then go from there. Because luckily, even though I had the whole thing already done in Unity, it's all two-dimensional. There's no 3D models or graphics or anything. It's all totally 2D interface. So using Swift UI, and I already had all the graphics assets from our artist Tim to put in there. So using the same graphical assets, I started the project in Swift UI. Rebuilt the whole thing, and that was a whole learning process too, because the way that Swift works in Swift UI, the way you build the code and the structure of the project is way different than Unity. But I got that up and running. And then I finally got, so I don't have to deal with Objective-C. So now I add the watch communication part of it, and I got the Bluetooth part working in the Swift code. So that was actually pretty easy. I found a site where somebody had done the same kind of kind of Bluetooth low energy stuff that I was already doing in the Unity thing through the plugin, but directly in Swift. So that was pretty easy. So now I get the watch up and running and talking to the iPhone app, and that's talking to the Raspberry Pi through Bluetooth, and it's all working. So, woo, that was a ramble. So now I'm just gonna demo a little bit of what I got done so far. Here I am again. I got my iPhone, I got my Apple Watch on my wrist here, and I'm wearing it kind of backwards just so it might be easier to show you on the screen what I'm doing here. Okay, so launch the app, and it immediately automatically connects to the Raspberry Pi. It finds it really fast. Now, when it shows this screen, it means it's connected. Otherwise, it would show a different screen with a message that says it's not connected and with a button to connect. So, I also have the watch app running here. Now, watch the radar screen over here. If I press the smoke screen, we get the little video. And when this is connected to the real car, you know, some smoke will come out the back of the car. And then I can slide over, just doing another smoke screen first. And you have the other gadgets. And these all are pretty much identical to the buttons that are in the app. So it's just on the watch you slide over back and forth one at a time. So like with the guns, okay, we're gonna arm the guns. See the video playing. And you can also see that the UI on the phone stays in sync with what the watch is showing. So it's hard to do this. Let me undeploy it. You can see them both changing at the same time. Let's see here. Let me go to, okay, here's the license plates. Switch the license plates. You see the video playing to the plate that it's switching to. This time I'll hit it on the watch. See, they both switch in sync here, and the video plays to the next one. And so that's, you know, of course we've got the bullet shield and the ejector seat, which this is all work in progress, but there's 3 letters to spell arm. You have to turn them all on before the actual eject button lights up to eject somebody out of the car. So hopefully people won't accidentally do it. Okay. Now, I also want to demonstrate some of the touchscreen features on the Raspberry Pi screen. So the video loop is kind of playing by default, like I said. It's just kind of like the radar thing that you see in the movie. But of course, you know, when you do a gadget, just like I showed, that video pops up until it's done, and then it goes away and it goes back to the radar loop. But if we want to play, say you're sitting in the car and you want to play some other videos, I'm just going to come over here and say, let's just interrupt this by touching the screen, because this is a touch screen, right? I'm simulating it. Go back, because this is a category for video loops. There's going to be some other ones, I think, some different attract videos to choose from. Back, and then here's all the main menu of categories for different videos. And so, like, let's look at some the girls. And right now we have 2 different girls videos. Let's look at that. And some of these girls videos are kind of long. So if you want to get out of it at any time, you just touch the screen, go back to the menu, and try the second one. Different girls. And let's see. So it's pretty cool. Let's see here. see, drinks. Drinks. And there is sound for these videos. I just don't have any speakers plugged in. So that's it. And then if you just want to go back to the radar and just have it sit there forever, unless you do gadgets, you just do that. Back to the radar. And of course, you know, these things are constantly going independent of whatever's going on down here. 3 different little gadgets and gauges and stuff. So, whew, okay, that's what we got so far. And I'm still working on the iPhone app to be able to control the videos from that as well. That's not going to be too big of a deal. And then pretty soon we're going to be going to Chicago and actually putting this stuff together and making it work in the car. So that's going to be a lot of fun. So anyway, thanks for watching. If you stuck around this long, congratulations. It was a lot of techno babble, probably. Hopefully some of the graphics that I put up to try to help visualize what I'm talking about helped. So there we go. I'll catch you guys next time.